Today we're going to take up the Alaskan energy bill. I'm not sure that we'll actually take up the bill. There may be a long debate on the motion to proceed. Senator Murray and others have expressed some interest in delaying consideration of the bill until some assurances are given relating to Alaskan oil, and so we may be on that bill for a little while. Senator Murray has expressed an interest in talking about the bill for a little bit, and I suspect that the fate of the legislation is uncertain at this point. If we don't finish today, then we will go back, as you know, to the waste legislation tomorrow. We hope to finalize that tomorrow prior to our caucuses. There'll be a series of votes on the amendments, and then once the amendments are complete, we'll vote on final passage. It's uncertain then whether or not we'll go back to the Alaskan energy bill or not. I suspect we probably will, but as you know, the big issue this week will be the budget, and now it doesn't appear that the budget will come up prior to Thursday. Let me say 3 points make 3 points with regard to the budget. First of all, as you all know, the President has proposed his budget. Republicans have earned the right to offer their alternative. They're about 60% similar. Our view is that there is no disagreement whatsoever on a date certain. I believe, as we have voted on a number of occasions here in the Senate over the course of the last several months, that the year 2002 is a legitimate date. We don't differ with that. Not one amendment offered in the Budget Committee moved the date back or added $1 to the deficit that the Republicans have proposed here. So in our view, we're not arguing over the date, nor are we arguing over the amount of deficit reduction necessary. We do argue with the determination on the part of Republicans to use Social Security trust funds, which they are using, to reach a balanced budget by the year 2002. But nonetheless, we think that's a valid date. Where we agree is on a date. Where we disagree is using Medicare funds, $900 in direct benefits to those beneficiaries of Medicare per year by the year 2002, shifting those benefits directly to a tax cut for the wealthy. We differ with that. We want to change that piece of it. We also differ with increasing the taxes on working Americans, 12 million working Americans, about a $1,400 tax increase. We want to shift away from that. We don't think that's appropriate to tax working Americans to give wealthy an even bigger tax cut, especially when we're talking about wealthy Americans making $350,000 and generating a $20,000 tax cut. And we also strongly disagree with cutting educational benefits for students of $3,000, 4 million students who will see a dramatic reduction in their ability to generate the student assistance that they need to go to college. That's wrong. So let me just emphasize, we do not differ with the importance of setting a date certain, with the importance of balancing the federal budget. We do not want to increase the debt. What we simply want to do is to take those pieces that we think are egregious and extreme and change those in the mix of this debate. We will be offering a series of amendments which will represent our alternative to the Republican proposal. Our alternative on Medicare, our alternative on taxes, our alternative on education, and we believe that the American people are very much in favor of the kinds of amendments that we'll be offering, and hopefully we can get some Republicans to join us. But with that, let me take your questions.
With regard to the oil export ban, what kinds of assurances are Senators Murray and others looking for?
Well, I think they're very concerned about the implications of exported Alaskan oil to West Coast states. They would like to be sure that West Coast states are protected here, that we not become dependent upon imported oil from other parts of the country, other parts of the world. So I think that's really their concern. Just what implications will this exported Alaskan oil have on Washington, Oregon, and California? Until they have a better understanding of the implications of this, I think they are very concerned about whether or not this legislation ought to pass.
Republicans have been talking about using the $170 billion so-called economic dividend for the tax cut. would you anticipate some of your amendments using that $170 billion for other things such as Medicare?
Exactly. That's what we want to do. And I think your question is exactly the right way to phrase it. What we're saying is that we want to take that $170 billion, which we think is conservative, and shift it back to those beneficiaries in Medicare, to college students, to working Americans who are just struggling to stay outside of welfare. We want to use those revenues for purposes other than a huge tax cut for the wealthy. That, if we could do that, I think you'd see a lot of support for much of what the Republican budget proposes.
Where does welfare reform fit into all of this?
Welfare reform fits in very importantly. I would say that you're going to see a major debate on welfare reform sometime this summer. I still wouldn't be surprised if it became part of reconciliation. But we will see welfare reform. You'll see Democrats and Republicans making proposals in the not too distant future, probably as early as this month, dealing directly with welfare reform.
What about defense cuts? Challenging defense numbers to reach the balanced budget target?
Well, as you noted, the Republican proposal in the Senate didn't differ with the administration on defense. And I think that's probably where most people are with regard to defense. There aren't a lot of senators who are willing to cut it deeper, but there aren't a lot of senators who want to see it increased more significantly either. I think most people believe the president has it about right.